This time on Monkey Life. Alison heads north to bring back Ruby, a marmoset with attitude.
Oh, are you threatening me already?
And a bit of a weight issue.
She's a nice little chunky lady.
Yeah,
she's not skinny. You're not skinny, missus.
Baby orangs Rika and Bulu Mata discover the ups and downs of life in the nursery.
They find each other hilarious, so they spend their days doing this, playing around.
And after some home renovations at one of the chimp enclosures, it's young Thelma who leads the way. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
They're all going to have a chance to live proper lives again. Perfect.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. Today, Park Director Alison is heading north to Grimsby to rescue a marmoset, a small species of monkey the park is regularly asked to rehome. This time, it's a black tufted female called Ruby. In the last 5 years, the team has come to the aid of more than 50 monkeys, all victims of the British pet trade, something Alison has campaigned against for many years.
We've built 2 separate facilities to house all of these animals, and I've still got a waiting list. Ruby is one of the lucky winners because she's advanced to the top of the list because it's a female. And right now we're having difficulties with a couple of particular individual males, which we think would do better, perhaps having a female as companionship.
Ruby's owners called Alison because the marmoset is increasingly aggressive and biting members of the household. They just can't cope.
Yet again, another well-meaning person and family who have spent a ton of money trying to make a good home and environment for this wild animal that simply isn't going to make a good pet. So I've agreed to take Ruby on, and we're off to collect her now.
Ruby lives in this bungalow with her animal-loving family, Dawn and Tony, and their 2 dogs, 2 cats, and several rabbits.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah.
I'm Alison.
Hiya.
Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
Hi, boys.
It doesn't take long to meet Ruby. She comes to introduce herself.
Hello, missus. Hey, you.
Monkeys kept as pets are often overweight, overfed by well-meaning owners who don't know enough about their natural diet.
Oh, are you threatening me already? You don't need to do that yet. Hi, you. Are you a good girl?
She's a nice little chunky lady.
Yeah,
She's not skinny.
You're not skinny, missus.
What's this? You're going to have to come see me.
Good girl. Excellent job.
She loves that.
Yeah.
It seems Ruby has no problems with eating, mobility, or confidence.
What made you decide to get a marmoset?
Well, we didn't decide to get one. Somebody had told us about her and said that she wasn't being treated very well. So we basically went and rescued her.
And was she in a poorly state when you got her?
Yeah, she was a bit timid when we first got her, and she wouldn't come to us, but she soon come out of her shell.
Ruby.
In fact, Ruby got so overconfident, she started interacting with the family's other pets, grooming the cats and teasing the dogs and attacking the rabbits.
Oh, and hello, bunnies. Yes, we're going to save you.
In theory, Ruby lives in this parrot cage, but the door is always open.
That's how it is all the time. It's just open. She comes and goes in it as she pleases.
And that would be what you normally feed her of a day?
Yeah, we just give her some mixed fruit and obviously bugs. Bits of veg I give her.
Okay.
It seems Ruby has the run of the house and is basically ruling the roost.
She even goes in and out the cat flap on her own. So sometimes she goes out even when we're out.
Oh, you're joking?
No.
Did you want some more?
The challenge now is to get her into the crate.
Well, you'll have to walk over, actually. I'm not going to deliver all of them.
Ideally, Alison wants to limit any stress by getting Ruby to walk in by herself.
Look, it's lovely in there. It's your bed in there. And if you just go inside...
Look, I'm putting it all the way in the back. And then it's in there. Really impressed. She's very calm and cool about this whole thing.
It's clear that the family are upset that Ruby's going, but they know they're making the right decision for her future.
We'll take good care of her, and I will text you along the way and let you know as soon as we're there, and then let you know how she goes. All right, look after yourself. Aw, sweetheart. Yeah. She's not freaking out. She's not doing anything. No, this is going to be far harder on you guys. We'll speak soon. Bye-bye.
It's an emotional goodbye for the family as they watch Alison and Ruby set off for the 5-hour drive back to Dorset. With Alison and Ruby on their way back to Monkey World, Steph from the primate care team is preparing a bedroom for the new arrival.
It's always interesting for us when we get an animal like this into the park. We do typically find that a lot of them have been taken away from their parents way too young, so they actually develop slightly strange personalities. They don't behave in natural ways to marmosets. They just act a little bit differently. They don't communicate in the same way. They can have a lot of things like stress-related behaviours that they've picked up in their time in the pet trade. So it's finding a group that she can interact well with and help her as she settles in, but not a group that she's obviously going to be feisty with, which we think she could be a feisty female because of the interaction she's had with her owner's pets. So it'll be an interesting challenge for us, finding a group that fits for her.
Last year, the park opened the new Marmoset complex with 14 bedrooms to try and cope with the influx of pet trade victims. Some were rescued from appalling conditions, others because the owners couldn't cope. So each new arrival comes with its own set of issues.
It's like playing a game of Marmoset Tetris. It's kind of like who fits in with who. Obviously rescuing the guys from the pet trade, they are coming into a better life with us straight away, but it's not as simple as soon as they come in, that's it, job done, everything's going to be wonderful. It's a complicated sort of business of working out who your personalities are, who you're going to fit together, who's going to be best in the long term. And even when you do get a new group formed, there's no guarantee that in 6 months' time you're not going to get one of those group members pushed out, and you'll have to reshuffle and think about how you can introduce them together.
Alison has reported back about Ruby's keen appetite, and the team are poised with the marmoset weighing scales.
Ruby's sort of an average, good-sized marmoset. She should be around the sort of 400 mark. If she's a bit on the chubby side, she'll be closer to 500, and then we'll have to look at her weight when she comes in. We'll weigh her when she does come in. And if she is a bit chubby, we'll have to react accordingly, put her on a little bit of a diet, just restrict her food a little bit to try and get her within the normal sort of range for a marmoset.
The marmoset scales could be in for a bit of a shock. There's another group of primates who've had a weight problem in the past, but life is now blossoming for the residents at the Stumpy house, and they're about to get a special lightweight treat. The stump-tailed macaques are known affectionately as the ugly monkeys, and today Nicola from the primate care team has brought beautiful camellia flowers and apple blossom for their breakfast. There are 9 members of the group, but low-ranking Flo, one of the females, doesn't often get a look in when they all emerge together, so she's let out first. Flo arrived last year from a rescue centre in Munich. She's still finding her feet, so to make sure she gets enough, she gets a bit of a head start. While Flo tries to work out if she prefers the white or the pink blossoms best, the other 8 Stumpies head out to see what they've been missing. Sam, the leader of the group, isn't overly impressed with the colourful breakfast. But Charlie is delighted. It seems she has a taste for apple blossom. While the rest of the group gets stuck in, Flo backs off and bides her time. Jonathan is another low ranker. He tucks in before Noreen moves in and takes over his stash of blossoms. With everyone else enjoying the delicacy, Sam opts to give it another try, and this time decides the apple blossom tickles his taste buds. Miriam's happy to have Charlie's leftovers. While Sam, having now approved the white flowers, examines the pink camellias. One sniff, and they're ejected. But Sylvie and Charlie both rate this morning's breakfast as a gourmet meal worth fighting over. Top female Kelly, with Noreen as backup, wades in to sort it out. But the squabbling pair aren't giving up easily. Meanwhile, the tasty treat has put Maureen in a good mood, with Flo the beneficiary of a quiet grooming session. But it only takes a rumble of thunder and a summer rain shower for the Stumpies to forget breakfast and head back indoors. Only Flo stays outside, taking shelter and keeping an eye on the rest of that breakfast. Once the rain stops, there'll be a chance of second helpings. It's worth the wait. At the top of the park, the Orang Nursery has some new and very special residents. 18-month-old Rika and 2-year-old Bulu Mata have got their very own playroom. It's recently been finished, and the care team have made sure there's plenty to keep the two youngsters entertained.
This playroom is big enough for both of them to have plenty of space. It's tall enough for them to learn how to climb up high and to not be scared of heights. We have a lot of housing quite close together, so they always have a bit of hose within reach, so it makes it easier for them to climb around.
But life hasn't always been great for the pair. Both babies are orphans. Bulu's mother died when he was just a few days old, and he came to the park from Budapest Zoo at 3 months. Rika arrived from Berlin after she was rejected by her mother just weeks later, so the pair have been hand-reared together by the park team and are great friends. And now they're big enough to spend all day playing in their own specially designed nursery.
They have all their meals in here, and they have 3 bottles a day, but also we feed them solid food. We put solid food near the top bit of the enclosure, so they have to climb up to eat, just to encourage them to move around and to search for their own food.
As orphan babies, it's been great to have playmates their own age.
For Rika, it's really good having a little orangutan that's a bit older, just a bit older than her. She follows Bulu around. If Bulu climbs up high, even if it's a bit scary for Rika, she will follow him. But Rika is braver than Bulu. She's catching up.
Because the playroom is right next to the older nursery orangs, the duo can meet them safely through the mesh. This means by the time they're old enough to join them, they'll be very familiar and comfortable with the whole group.
They are really close to the other kids, so they are really used to them. They really know them. They hear them, they smell them. So it's really good that they are 24/7 here with the others.
Lewis and the team still play with them a little, so they're used to being handled. But the goal is for the pair to be fully independent.
They pretty much spend the whole day together, and they don't really need us that much. They love each other, they spend the days playing with each other. They find each other hilarious, so they spend their days doing this and jumping on top of each other and playing around.
The park has 4 chimp enclosures, one for the bachelor boys, another for Paddy's family, plus Sally's young group, and one led by Hananya, who was rescued from the black market trade in Israel. The maintenance staff have spent the last few days at his enclosure, replacing some of the older, worn-out structures and adding new climbing frames, bridges and tunnels to make things fresh and interesting. It's ready to be unveiled to 20 stir-crazy chimps who've spent the time indoors, unsure what's been going on outside. They're pretty keen to find out, but they need to wait for the primate care staff to do one final check to make sure nothing's been left behind. The staff are also putting out breakfast, distributing it around the newly transformed enclosure. Once the slides are opened, it's a big rush to the outside, and it's Hananya who leads the way. As always, Patricia combines exploring with eating, scooping up a handful of food before climbing one of the new posts. As the group's leader, Hananya tests the new poles to make sure they're strong enough. But top-ranking female Cherry is a bit unsure about the new look. And Patricia needs a helping hand, plus a bit of encouragement from the youngest in the group, 2-year-old Thelma, as she crosses the newly installed bridge. And that's not the only thing the chimps are wary of. A rather large vertical tunnel is somewhat perplexing. What are we supposed to do with that? Again, it's up to intrepid youngster Thelma to show them how it's done. Thelma was born at the park 2.5 years ago. Hananya is her dad, and high-ranker Cherry is her mum, which means she'll always be top of the tree too, as youngsters inherit their rank in chimpanzee society. Thelma loves playing with the adults, and they're happy to give her attention. She has lots of loving aunties and uncles. Auntie Cookie is persuaded to carry her across a rope bridge from above and below. But for the others, with the new apparatus having been given the once-over and approved, it's on with the important job of munching contentedly on breakfast. Marjolaine is hoping Cherry will share her branch full of tasty leaves. So when little Thelma takes over the branch from her mum, Marjolaine takes advantage and purloins the branch for herself, showing that youngsters only get so much leeway when mum isn't there to help. But it's no big deal for little Thelma. She knows there's plenty more and heads down to ground level, with a little help. Testing out new home renovations is exhausting work, so time for a nap before lunch. At the top of the park, there's an important arrival. Ruby the marmoset from Grimsby has made the long journey south with Alison.
She's absolutely brilliant. We've put her in the box and she's traveled down, had snacks along the way. I'm really impressed. She's quite a strong little character. We just have to hope she's going to be as good with the marmosets.
After a long debate about which group Ruby might get along with, the care staff have 2 adult males in mind, Jock and Colin. Jock is older by 2 years, and the pair have a sort of father-son relationship. The hope is that Ruby will bond with Jock and accept Colin as part of the family.
The question is whether or not Jock is dominant enough over Colin that Colin will act subservient and that the 3 of them might go together. Otherwise, it might split up just into her pair bonding with one of them or the other.
Despite the upheaval, Ruby seems totally unfazed.
She's tubby. I don't think anything's going to stop her eating, so...
For the first day and night, Ruby will be in a bedroom opposite Jock and Colin. That way they'll get used to the sight and smell of each other before they meet. It's very different from the life Ruby's left behind.
She would go out the cat flap and over to the neighbors next door who were an elderly couple and say hi. And so when they'd come home, she'd either be returned to the house or she might be visiting next door.
Are we ready?
Yeah. Come on, Rubes. Come on then. Take your time, Steph's coming.
Okay. Hey, Rubes.
Ruby is straight into her new home. She's remarkably swift and agile for such a well-built marmoset.
We were talking earlier about how 500 grams is slightly on the chubby side and around that area. Our Miss Ruby has weighed in at 630 grams, which is a little on the large size, sort of double XL for a marmoset. But she looks pretty healthy despite that. She's moving around really, really well. She's using the enclosure. She's able to leap around on the branches. So I guess over the next few months, while she gets used to our food and our diet, we'll just work on trying to shave a few of those extra bits off. But right now, she's definitely in the more to love category.
All the marmosets in the park get vitamin D3 and calcium for strong bones. Clearly, Ruby has had a substantial diet and spent a lot of time outside, but it's still likely she'll need the vitamin supplement to stay healthy.
This. Delicious. She seems like she's taking all of this really in her stride. Her feistiness will be interesting when it comes to introducing her to new friends. But yeah, I'm really happy because it's not very nice when they come in and they're obviously terrified of what's gone on. So the fact that she's very confident and seems quite sure of herself is a good step.
Next time on Monkey Life. An unexpected arrival is on the way and causing concern at the golden-cheeked gibbon house.
There is no sign of that baby coming out naturally, and have actually called out the vet and we're just waiting on him.
And it all goes nuts in the capuchin enclosure.